So, sorry for the delay and trying to sort out some Facebook Live related technical issues. Good evening to everyone. If you're watching this later on, you can replace the evening by morning, afternoon, or anything you like. So, let me check first whether the audio is working. So, if the audio is working, we can start. Um, just a moment. Okay, so I got the confirmation. So let's start with uh, a story because we think that storytelling is the best way to convey anything. If you want to understand anything, the best way to understand it is think of the problem or think of what you want to understand in a storytelling way or as a story. And also, if you want to convey your message or if you want to make someone understand what you are going to talk or to explain something, the best way is to build a story around it and become a storyteller. So great thinkers, great people, successful people, all are really good at storytelling. So I'll try to explain about design thinking um, using a story, so that I think that everyone can understand it easily and everyone can understand it better. um, I guess you can find about myself in the description, or if you search in the web. I don't have to explain. I don't have to introduce myself here, taking your time. So let's jump on to it. So today's topic is about design thinking at large, and this session will explain you what is design thinking, and maybe it will explain you how you can use design thinking in your life or even in your work, in your personal life or at your professional life. So if you can see my screen, I'll make it a bit larger. Hold on, I'm trying to go to the full screen mode. Yeah. So this is Sam. Um, Sam, the guy. So what about him? He owns a digital camera store. So he has a store which sells digital cameras. And excuse me, I am having a throat issue these days. And so Sam owns a digital camera store, and he has a problem. He's sad. You can see that his sad face. I think my yeah, I have to switch. I forgot to switch. Sorry. So let's start it over. This is Sam again. Okay, so this Sam owns a digital camera store, a lot of cameras, and his sales have gone down, so he's sad. So why his sales have gone down? Because you have a lot of camera stores coming up, and there are a lot of competition, and he has no website, so he just has a store. So by looking at Sam, you can guess that he has been running this business for some time now, maybe 10-20 years, and so he's not that tech savvy to have a website, or he doesn't have that much of an idea about having a website, or about how he can market it. And also he doesn't have a website, and also he doesn't have an online store. He's not connected to any kind of online store. So his sales have gone down. So he calls his friend called Zach, and Zach is a tech guru, and so he says that, okay, I think I need a website because everyone else has websites. I also want a website because I have a problem. My sales have gone down. And Zach shows some website options like, okay, I can do this, bro. These are the stuff that I've been doing, and these are the websites that you can go through, and let me know what kind of website that you want. So Zach is really, really helpful in this case. So Sam is happy, and he agrees to the website. He agrees to one option that he has given, and the website goes live after some time. So Sam is happy, Zach is also happy. So it'll run for like 3 months with the website, and oops, again Sam is unhappy. He's sad. Why? His sales are still down. More competition. He's facing a lot of competition because there are a lot of other players, new players who has websites and all this stuff. So his website is not solving the problem that he has. So he has a website, he has an online store also. So his website also supports online store option where he can sell stuff online, but still his sales are down. So now Zach is out of the way because Zach can't help him anymore. So he has also called him many times. So he remembers he has another friend who's like tech savvy and he knows about this stuff. So he calls Mike. Okay, this is Mike. And he says, Zach couldn't do it. Zach's website sucks. I need a new website. I need a better website because the problem is my sales are down. I need some help here. So Mike says, okay, wait, there's a new way. You don't have to build a website again. There's a new way to solve this problem. What is that new way? Let's find out. So he comes over and he shows this 3 circles. So the left side, leftmost one is the desirability. The right hand side is feasibility. The bottom one is viability. So what are these? So he explains that. So you have to focus on this. You don't have to build website over and over again until your problem gets solved. So you have to first focus on these 3 things. Then you know what you want. So what's the first thing? Are we creating something that people value? That's the desirability side of it. So you have to ask the question of, are we creating something that people value? The thing that you're building, let's call it a website. So the website that you're building, is it creating any value for people, real people out there? The second one, the feasibility. He's asking, can it be done? So if you're proposing something, can it be done? That's the other question. The third one is, does it make any business sense? Viability. So these 3 things combined will answer any question that you have, any problem that you have. If you focus on these 3 areas, it can answer a lot of problems. So this actually is called the human-centered design approach, and it can be also called as design thinking. So if you look at the conventional way of problem solving, so what Sam did was, Sam saw a lot of other websites out there, and he saw that his sales are going down, and he thought that, okay, if I have a website, this problem will be solved. So that's the conventional way that people come to decisions, where they will look at the existing options out there in the market, in your general knowledge, and based on your experience. You can just, if you think about a problem, you can find a lot of choices, a lot of options out there, and then what you do is, okay, you list down them and then find what do you want, what's the best one you want. So that's the conventional way. You have a lot of options, you converge from 10 options, you think, and you decide, okay, I need this option. So for example, when the sales are going down, he saw a lot of other things, like other people have new cameras or new brands, or maybe other sales channels, different ways of marketing, discount options, and all these different stuff. But he finally concluded that he wanted a website. Why? Because he converged all these options into one. That's the traditional, conventional way. So what is design thinking? What is human-centered approach? The human-centered approach is the other way around. Before you converge, you have to first diverge. That means from the state that you are in currently, you have to create choices. You don't pick choices from the existing lot. What you do is you create new choices, and then you find what's the best choice from the created ones. So you first have to diverge before converging. So that is the main difference in the design thinking, or in the human-centered way of solving problems. So this is the conventional way. You converge first and come to a decision or pick a solution. This is the design thinking way of creating choices first and then converging. So what's the difference between these two? Anyway, you have, so if you argue that anyway you make choices at the end, right? So here also you have to converge. But the big difference is, when you converge without diverging, you are confined to existing options. You are not ideating, you are not creating new choices, you are not thinking out loud. What you do is you look at others, you look at your expert opinion, others' expert opinion, you look at competitors, you look at similar stuff, similar industries, and you go and ask from people, what do you think about this, how do you like this? So you have different existing choices, and you pick one out of those stuff. But in the design thinking way, first you have to create choices yourself. So there are, so if someone asks, how do you do this? It's easy to tell this. So how do you do this? So there's a process. This is the process. So design thinking, if I give a bit of background, it's a term coined by people behind the IDEO, or the same people who are behind the Stanford D School, Stanford Design School. So there are people like Tim Brown and other people who are running, or who invented, or who helped to popularize this concept. So if you look up, or if you Google, you can find a lot of information about this. And there are different variations or different flavors of this process. But if you look at the most simple or easily understandable process for design thinking, it's these three steps that you can see always. The first one is inspiration, the second one is ideation, the last one is implementation. So you can see inspiration starts from 0 and it goes up, right? In the x-axis, it starts from the bottom and it goes up. So that means it's divergence. So what do you mean by diverge? Diverging is, you have to be inspired, you have to create choices, you have to ideate, and you have to uh, think out loud and get inspired about your problem. And then you again converge there. So you frame your problem, you find what's your problem first, and then you frame it. There you need the convergence, otherwise you can't solve all the problems in the world. So you frame your problem, and there's another diverge. So you diverge first, you converge, again you diverge, and then converge. So these are double diverge, double converge uh, uh, processes. So in the second diverge, what you do is, now you picked, you know your problem, and now you need to find solutions. So to find solutions, you need to ideate. So when you're ideating also, you should be diverging, you should be thinking out loud, you should be brainstorming, and you should be very, very crazy about the solution that you're going to build. You should break your boundaries and find or come up with different solutions. And then the last converge. So in the last converge, you have to find the best solution that is desirable, feasible, and viable. So if I come back to this diagram, what is desirability? Desirability is when you find the solution, and when you're implementing a solution, your solution should be desirable. That means your solution should be embraced by humankind, because you are building solutions for humans. So it should be, in other words, you can say it should be user friendly, but it's a very, very it's a very it's an umbrella term that you use, user friendly or user experience, but the correct word is desirable. So people should desire your solution. The second one is, your solution should be feasible. So there can be a really nice looking and very user friendly and very desirable solution, but if it's not feasible, you can't implement it. Maybe it's feasible in the future, we don't know, but it's not now. So you can't create solutions. So you can't come to solutions like that. It should be feasible. So okay, let's say your solution is desirable and feasible, but then you ask the question, is it viable? So what's the meaning of viability? Viability is whether it makes any business sense. So that means, if you build a desirable and feasible solution, can we sell it, or is it sustainable? Mind you, we are in the Sustainable Education Foundation, and so the name goes with it, right? So your solution should be sustainable. So for something to be sustainable, it should make money, or else it should have making money means uh, I'm not focusing on profits, but there should be a way to generate value which can add add life to the solution that you are building, right? So if you build a nice solution which is feasible, but it doesn't create any value, which people or which the organization which it runs can't make any money to run, at least on its at least spend their operations, um, help for their operations, then it doesn't make any sense, right? So any solution that you do, even if it's a business idea, even if it's an entrepreneurship idea, or even if it's a small feature that you're building in your product or service, think about these three circles always. Even in your life, always think whether what I'm doing right now is desirable, whether how would other people embrace this, whether it's feasible. The feasibility is usually going with technology, because that's the ultimate um, uh, decision point, where if you're talking about software solutions, if something is desirable and viable, but if you can't implement it in, because there are technical issues, then problem. So but when it comes to feasibility, it's not always technology, it can be any feasibility. It can be Like, for example, if you can't secure uh, the skill set within the given time or within the given domain to do it, that's also coming under feasibility. Even if you spend $1 million and you can't find the people to do it, that's also coming under feasibility. So, but the easy way to remember this is desirability goes with human, feasibility goes with technology, viability goes with business. So, coming back to the design thinking process. So, the first stage is inspiration, second stage is ideation, third stage is implementation. Okay, this is a question for everyone of you. Are you feeling like this now? Because of the content that we've been going through. If I don't know, maybe some people are like this because it's been a while, right? More than 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe it's too much content. So back to the story. So Mike did some. He used some techniques. So if I go back to this, now I said that this is the process that you use, and there are three stages, and there are diverge and converge stages. So in all these stages, let's say in all three stages, you've got a set of methods or set of tools or techniques that you can use in each of these stages. So inspiration has some methods that you can use, ideation has some methods, and implementation has some methods. So you can find all this information in the website called designkit.org, which is a project by IDEO, which is one of the best design agencies in the world, who is behind design thinking popularization and also coming up with design thinking based case studies, and they're doing their projects in design thinking processes, using design thinking processes. So I've chosen some of the methods that you can use in these different stages. So in the inspiration stage, where you have to frame your problem, you have to understand what is the problem. So to do that, there are some tools that they have given, some methods that they have given. So these are three of those methods that they have given. The first one is 5 whys. I guess a lot of people know this already. The second one is photojournal. The third one is analogous inspiration. So if you look at the 5 whys, another way of understanding 5 whys is through fishbone diagram, or else a simple 5 whys can be that, for example, in Sam's case, you can ask, so Sam says my sales have gone down, and you can ask the first why your sales have gone down. Then he would say that my sales have gone down because I don't have a website. That's his opinion. So then you can ask why you don't have a website, and then he would say, I don't know how to make a website, or I don't have I don't have the capacity to build a website. Then you can ask, okay, why you don't have a capacity to build a website? So like that. But if the problem with that is, if you ask the wrong why at the wrong time, then you go in the wrong direction. So you, as a person who's building solutions or trying to solve a problem, you first have to go through some content related to 5 whys, or you have to read through some case studies or read about the technique. Then you know how to frame it correctly. So if Sam says, I don't have my sales have gone down, and when you say why your sales have gone down, if he says because I don't have a website, then what you have to do is you have to find, okay, that's only one of the problems that he has. It's not the problem that he has. So there can be many reasons why his sales have gone down. So then you have to ask the right question and then ask the whys correctly. So the theory is, if you ask 5 whys on top of each other, drilling down his problem, you can find the root cause. So it's all about root cause. So in the fishbone also, you're trying to find the root cause. So for a defect, there can be different causes, and then you find the problem by going through each and every bone or each and every branch there. And if you look at the photojournal, that is a method that, if I go back to the story, so Mike used the method called photojournal. What he asked was, he asked Sam to, okay, now you have a camera store, and show me your daily routine, and show how the camera store works, and show how people work there. And so if you ask someone to show this, so what you have to do is you have to go there and sit with him and walk with him and then observe, right? But in the photojournal method, what you can ask them is to take photos. So you can go and take photos of what they're doing and relate it to the story. So in a way, it's good for storytelling, and also in a way, it's good to have those photojournals with you when you're doing the other phases, like ideation and implementation. It starts from inspiration, ideation, and implementation. So these will help you to build empathy towards the user. I will show you the website that you can use. Okay, this is called Design Kit .org by IDEO, and if you go to methods, there are a lot of methods under each stage: inspiration, ideation, implementation. And in inspiration, you'll find the 5 I's. So they have given the description, what is it, and the steps. You can just read it and do it. So they have also stats like, it will take 15 minutes. Is it easy to do for a novice user? What do you need, like pens and paper? What do you need else? And who do you need for that? Design team and the person you are designing for. So in this case, in Mike's case, it's Mike and Sam both. And if I go back to the presentation, if you go to photojournal, you can find the photojournal here. You can even search here. Oh, yeah, it's the second one. I just missed it. See? So they say it takes some time. It says a couple of days, and the goal is to capture everyday moments and dynamics. So to give a solution to anyone, you have to understand the problem side. So to understand the problem, you have to live their life. So if someone has a problem, and if you try to answer their problem or solve their problem by stepping outside his problem and become a judge, then you can't actually solve the problem effectively. You may be able to solve the problem, but it's not effective. So to solve a problem effectively, you have to step into their lives. So one way to step into their lives is to capture all the moments, all the dynamics. So the best thing is to just capture different moments, snapshots of stuff that they do. Then you know what's happening there. So and let's say you took 5 photos, and let's say one photo you don't understand why you are doing that, why this person is, for example, let's say Sam is always entering something to a book, logbook, let's say, for example. Every day he writes on a logbook at the end of the day. So he has um, uh, Mike has taken a photo of this, and later on he asks Sam, okay, I have this photo of you logging something. What do you do? Then you can ask questions and find out why he's doing that. So that's photojournal. And if you go to analogous inspiration, it's a very interesting one, and it's one of my favorites. So, so let's say you are trying to understand something, um, and you are trying to understand something, and you're trying to actually give a solution to that too. So when you're confined into one subject, let's say you are in this camera store and you're trying to understand what's happening in the camera store and what's good for them, but the problem is sometimes you can't go outside the box by being in the same domain, by being the same location, by thinking about the same thing always, on and on and on. So what you have to do is you have to break out and go out of the box thinking. You can say you have to. This is one of the ways that you can think outside. For example, I'll use the same example here. So let's say, for example, Sam uses something, a device, at the same time every day. Okay, so that's one of the observations that you have. So if you look at a parallel situation where, if you think about using a device at the same time every day, if you think about it, what are the other examples that you can get inspired from? So what are the other instances that you do this? It's your alarm clock, right? So if you have an alarm every day, it at a specific time, let's say 6 o'clock, it rings. So this thing that Sam does is very similar to an alarm. Then you can think, okay, alarm has these features. Can we incorporate those into this problem that we have? For example, it's just an example. Okay, so that's about analogous inspiration. So you try to think about a problem or an activity in a different dimension. So you go back to a different dimension. Maybe it can be a totally different environment. It can be a different place. It can be a totally different industry. So this is a method that helps you to think out loud, think differently, think creatively. Okay, so those are just three methods that design kit gives you from the lot here. So you see how many methods that they have given you. And if you go to the ideation stage, there's something called how might we notes, there's something called journey maps, and there's something called storyboards. So under how might we, if you go to ideation and say might how might we, you can find that. So this is a way of noting down a problem in a better way. So when it comes to design thinking, we use a lot of notes, sticky notes, a lot of drawing, a lot of creative work comes through drawing, writing down, and making it visual. So visualizing is the key. Visualizing everything is the key to build a better solution. So that's why design thinking or human-centered design methods all endorse visualizing everything. So uh, 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 in how might we notes, it the method this method will provide you a framework to frame a problem or a solution. So let's say Sam's problem is sales are going down. So if he says my sales are going down, I need a solution. So how do you note it down in your notebook or anywhere that you like? So you can write it like, how might we increase sales of Sam's website? That's a really nice way, right? It's also it's positive. It's not negative. It's very positive, and it gives you this inspiration to ideate, inspiration to find out solutions. So how might we find a solution to Sam's problem? For example, let's say Sam says, uh, I want um, 20% sales increase in the next month. So how do you write it? You write like, how might we increase sales of next month by 20%? Then you drill down and say, okay, you need these stuff. So when you drill down, you will get more questions, and you write all these questions in the HMW format. How might we? So I don't think we should go through each and every stage, because it's all I think I have like 10 minutes. So I'll just fast forward this. So you have something called journey maps and also storyboards. These help you to um, draw or visualize the end user's journey. So if a person is trying to buy a camera, how would he buy the camera? So what's the journey here? So where does he see, or what is the inspiration to buy a camera? It can be that a friend who's got a new camera, and this guy is, okay, where did you get it from? He says Sam's store. So then that's the first, that's the initiation of the journey, right? And from that point till the end of his journey, it can be either at the selling the camera, or it can be even at the after sales, or even at the diminishing or reselling the camera back to someone also. So the journey can start from anywhere and end from anywhere, but you have to know, as a person, you have to know what is your journey, and where do people start and where do people end, and what are the each touch point, what are the touch points in the journey. So you can go through each and every one of these and fine. So this is a simple note about how might we notes. You should your how might we notes shouldn't be broad, and it shouldn't be really narrow. So it should be the ideal size. So if you say how might we make people happy, that's really bad, too broad. There can be millions of ways that you can make people happy, and you don't say how might we make the buy button blue. That's like really miniature, very narrowed down problem. um, but you can say how might we use location to show relevant results. So if, for example, in Google, let's say if someone searches cameras, uh, how do you show relevant ads to that person based on his location? That's a good how might be. So if I go to implementation stage, that's the third and the final stage. How do you implement a solution? Of course, not by just finding different templates that are available in the internet and saying that, okay, these are the options that you can pick, and pick one website that you like, and that's not the way. The best way is, the design thinking way is to do a live prototype before going live, or before choosing what you want. Do prototyping. So in this case, you can prototype your website. In any other case, if it's a service, you can prototype. You can prototype using very low fidelity things, or you can prototype in really high fidelity way. You can prototype using people. You can prototype using pen and paper, maybe electronic stuff. So anything, but the first thing is, you have to prototype. You have to know whether you're failing or succeeding by prototyping. You shouldn't be implementing stuff without prototyping, which leads to failures, big failures later on. And these are the ways to prototype. See, this is a really nice mobile app, and it's a nice iPad app. So these are the ways to prototype. You can just draw down on piece of papers, paste it, and then do your prototyping. There are uh, services, mobile apps, and prototyping tools that they are out there, which allows you to take a photo of what you have drawn and upload it and create hotspot and make prototypes fast. So all this stuff, did Mike do this alone? Can he do it alone? No. It's a teamwork. It's design thinking or human-centered methods. Those are not done alone. Those are teamwork. So it's always good to have a team who are responsible and who will take accountability for the solution. So the solution that you are coming up with should be affecting these people. Then they will be really encouraged, and they will be really they'll be giving their 100% to your solution. So after going live with this brand new web store, uh, maybe powered by WordPress or something, because I used this site before. So after going live with his brand new website, Sam went from this to this. So be like Mike, adapt design thinking today. Let me switch over. So that's the introduction, and that's what I wanted to tell about design thinking or human-centered way of building solutions. And if there are any questions, you can ask. Sorry, I couldn't check the chat, so I don't know whether there are any questions that we have got. If there are any questions, I'm pleased to answer them. I think we have a few minutes left. Or do we have any? I think we have like 4 minutes. And also, one thing I want to tell is that if you are if you like design thinking, first the best thing is just read up a bit about it, and then try to think of all the solutions out there, all the products and services out there right now. If I just look around in front of me, I have a computer, I have a phone here, and then I have lights, and I have a smart light here. And so think about those solutions and products, and think how have they built these. Do you think that they're building these out of the blue, asking people, okay, what do you need, and writing the specifications, and then maybe they're thinking about how should we build something and coming up with solutions? Or do you think that they are going through a process like design thinking? And then think, if you see a bad product, or if you see a problem in a product, or if you see a bad service, think of ways how you can improve it by using design thinking. So in that, if you think in that way, when you see something, when you're walking in the road, or when you're working at the office, or even at your home, then you will understand the importance of design thinking, or importance of human-centered way of making products, and then you will embrace the good products, and then it will help you to remember the process also, so that you can use the same process in your life. So there's a question: what's the difference between design thinking and agile development? Okay, that's a good question. So agile development is primarily a project management methodology, because if you ask what is agile and what is opposite to agile, you would say that it's the waterfall method, right? So waterfall is a software development life cycle, thinking alone. So the project management process is a separate thing, and the design thinking process is a separate thing. Design thinking is more of a product design, or it's in the design phase of it. How would you design something? Uh, where Agile is a methodology that you can use to manage a project. I guess I answered your question. And there's another question called, does design thinking work with all subject areas? Um, that's question is a bit what do you call it? It's a bit open-ended. Yes, I think so. It works with all the subject areas. I would say, okay, there can be extreme situations where uh, a system that requires, uh, let's say, if it's a military system where you can't use any creative process, but there are some set standards, and your space to work is really thin. In that cases, you can't apply. Even if you, it's good if you can apply, but if you apply, they won't, the person or the sponsor won't allow you in practical sense. But theoretically, yes, you can apply design thinking to any subject area. And there's another question. Sorry, I couldn't tell the names of the people who asked the question. The first one is from Hasita. The second one was from Janit. Third one is from Yasit. How hard to learn design thinking if you're a beginner? Not hard at all. It's just a three-step process. Like I said, inspiration. It starts with inspiration, and if you look at this design kit org website, it's given in plain English. It's very simple, and you have given a lot of examples too. But the problem is, if you are a beginner, I think a beginner who hasn't done any prior reading, or who is not trained on a different way of solving problems, it's very easy to learn. But if you are coming from a different background, who have been trained to build products in a traditional way, it'll be a bit hard for you to adapt. So the question actually is how open you are, how open-minded you are. So I think as a beginner, it's really easy. And how can I test out design thinking? Of course, you can test out design thinking by doing a small project. For example, we have formed a group, or a community called Design Thinking Forum in Sri Lanka. If you look up Design Thinking Forum Sri Lanka, you will find it. And for example, we try to solve issues in the community. So let's say there are big problems like garbage problem, or there can be problems like commute problems you have every day. There can be problems related to health that people always find it hard to solve. When I say health, it's not your personal health, I mean healthcare related issues, the domain. You can solve them. You get together with 5-6 people, or even 2-3 friends, apply the principles, and you can solve it. And there's a website called OpenIDEO, which is run by IDEO, which is a non-profit organization who is trying to solve biggest problems in the world through design thinking. So just look it up. And how can we integrate design thinking to our school curriculum? That's a really nice question by Akshika. So to integrate design thinking into our school curriculum, I think that's a good how might we to practically there will be a lot of challenges in Sri Lanka because school education system is controlled by some people, and first we have to educate them. So we shouldn't be hating them, or we shouldn't be complaining. First, what we have to do is, I think, as people who think positively, and who knows how to apply design thinking, we first have to set some examples. You've solved some problems, big problems in Sri Lanka or big problems in the world using design thinking, and then provide some examples to them and show that, okay, if you incorporate these stuff to the education system, the education system itself will be sustainable, like the Sustainable Education Foundation. And what you're doing right now in Sustainable Education Foundation is also really good. So, because I think a lot of people, a lot of university students, a lot of students, school students are going through these materials, and it will be really, really helpful for them to know and to get on par with the rest of the world, because rest of the world is experts on this stuff. So we have to always keep educating. So I think I answered all the questions, and if you have any other questions, you can find me on you can post on the comments in the video. You can send me a message in any platform that I am on Facebook or anywhere you find me on internet. Can you explain how design thinking boosts creativity? Yes, I can explain. So I'll give you an example. Let me switch back for 1 minute. Oops, okay. If you go to design thinking and ideation, give me a minute. Okay, I won't take your time more. So there's a method called Crazy Eights. So Crazy Eights is a method that you can use to boost creativity. It's primarily used to ideate. So let's say you have a problem to solve, and you got to brainstorm, right? So if I talk about brainstorming is a word that everyone uses. So if you have a problem, people say go brainstorm and come, or let's brainstorm together, something like that. But the problem with brainstorming as a group is that a lot of times the people who are in the brainstorming session with you, they will start speaking, and they will be exchanging ideas, and they will be putting ideas on the boards, and they will be explaining about them. They will get very vocal, and the people who are really vocal will get their ideas through. So the people who are really, really good and silent, those people's ideas will not come out. So that's why people say don't do group brainstorming. So to stop group brainstorming, but to brainstorm in a effective way, there's a method called Crazy Eights. What you do is you give a problem and ask people to provide 8 solutions to the problem within, let's say, 5 minutes. So you've got 5 minutes, 8 solutions. That's all. So the thing is, even if you wait for 1 hour or 8 minutes or 5 minutes, you get the same output, because you are in the same location and you got the same people, and that's the maximum you can go. Maybe you get a better idea tomorrow, but at that moment. So one of the reasons why we are making it hard by giving 5 minutes to come up with 8 solutions is when you time box something, people are more effective in providing solutions. So you have to time box always. So all these methods that you have seen here, they are time boxed. You have a set time, so you don't take forever, and it gets done. So Crazy 8 is one of the best ways to boost your creativity. And there's another question from Akshika. Who are the people, organizations we should follow to learn more about design thinking? Number one, to follow design thinking, number one is follow Stanford University Design School and their work. If you go to their website or if you follow them on Twitter or anywhere else, you will get more information. And then find out who are the key people in Stanford. Follow them on Twitter, follow them on Facebook if they are on Facebook, follow them on all the social media which you like to get updates from. The third one is IDEO. IDEO is the organization, like I said, it's a design organization, it's a private company, but they have other arms like Open IDEO and IDEO U. So there are different organizations around IDEO, but if you follow IDEO, you'll get a lot of insights. Especially you will get to know the projects that they're doing using design thinking methods. So these are not just theory stuff that you are seeing. These are really, really practical, tried and tested, and really, really helpful in understanding how these guys are using. Even if you go to designkit.org, you'll see case studies. So under case studies, you will see all these different methods being used. There's another question. In the industry, who are the people involved in design thinking, like product manager? Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a very good question. So if you look at the industry, if you are a beginner, you maybe are in the you're in the university right now. So you have dreams, right? You want to become a programmer, software engineer. You want to become a quality assurance engineer. You want to become a business analyst. You want to become a product manager. Maybe not popular in Sri Lanka. You want to become a product designer, or you want to become a graphic designer. You want to become a implementation engineer. You want to become a DevOps engineer. So these are different stuff that you have, different ways, different streams, right? Engineering, quality assurance, development, quality assurance, DevOps, product. So in product, or in when I say product, under product you have business analysts, you have product designers, and you have product managers, right? So design thinking predominantly is for, or is marketed, or is heavily used by the product people, the business analysts, the product designers, the product managers. Why? Because they are the people who are responsible for the product, the three circles: desirability, viability, and feasibility, right? So the product people are the people who are really, really keen on these design thinking, and how to build a product, and what are the requirements in the product, and how should we build it, what is the design process that we have to go through, and how should it look like, how should people feel when they're using the product. So consumption side. So all these are for product people predominantly. But the catch is, if you use design thinking is about collaboration, right? Like in the example that I use, you can't do design thinking alone. So if you're a business analyst, or if you're a product designer, you can't be doing this design thinking alone. That's like totally off. You have to get all the people to do it right, in the right way. So you have to get the engineers. You have to, so three circles. The first circle is desirability. Those are the end users. So you have to know your end user. You have to get an end user to your design process. The second circle is feasibility. So if it's a technical product, you need to have the technical people. Otherwise, you don't know whether it's technically feasible or not. So your design process involves technical people, the engineers, the quality assurance people, and all these other engineers that you need. Third one is business. So the business people who are running the business, who are sponsoring this, who are investing in this, and who will be looking at the business viability, the sustainability. You need those people too. So these are the three big sets of people who will be in the process of design thinking. So the short answer is, if you look at it in a very high level, product people who are responsible for product. When I say product, it's not just product companies, project companies too. So there can be business analysts, there can be product designers and product managers who are responsible for the product or requirements of the system. So those are the people who will be responsible for design thinking and the human-centered way, but they need help from others, all the other people like engineering and business. So those two people, those two groups should also know what is design thinking and how can they contribute. So design kit or design thinking is not just for product people or business analysts. So it is for everyone. Okay, I have a question. Who or what inspired you to study design thinking? Good question. Okay, I think I got to know about design thinking use on a Google keynote, or yeah, one of Google's events. I got an email or something, and then I just because Google also has this design sprints. They do design sprints. So if you look it up, you'll understand what is a design sprint. Design sprint is kind of a short design window that you do, or a phase to come up with a good design without going to the traditional waterfall or agile way of doing things. So design sprint is a sprint dedicated to design a product or a service. So Google had that in one of the keynotes or somewhere, and I got to know about it. But before that, I knew about Acumen Foundation, and I knew that there is something called building empathy towards users, and it's all about empathy. You can't build a solution without empathy for the end users. So I was looking at some material like way back about it, but I was not that clear. But actually, it's Google Design Sprint that gave me the actual the spark to go and read about it. How can we optimize undergoing R&D with design thinking? Okay, I'll talk about R&D. So the problem with, oh, maybe I'm not criticizing, but when you say research and development, a lot of companies, yeah, a lot of companies have research and development centers, right? Or a group of people who will do high technology or highly secretive projects of design of R&D. It's a bit um, arguable that design thinking is a process that everyone should be using. It's not a process that only R&D people should be using. So I'm against having just one part of your company as the research and development center and they are using all these methods. No, everyone across your company or across your community should be using it. You should get everyone to be involved in the process, then only you will get the maximum out of it. So but to answer your question, if you're asking how can we optimize. So if you are in a research and development project, use the methods that I explained. Use these methods in your small experiment that you're doing. So if you are good at building face recognition, let's say for example, so you are a good you're good at AI, so you are really good at artificial intelligence. But the problem with all this research and development stuff is that they are looking at a technology and they are trying to break through. They are trying to go through they are trying to find a breakthrough in that technology or in that small space. That's wrong. Can get you maybe you get be successful, but no. The best way is to look at it in the three circles way. If you only look at the viability circle, you will not be successful because your solution should have all these three circles: the desirability, the feasibility and the viability. So if you look at the feasibility, technical feasibility only, and focus on it, you'll fail. There are a lot of products that have come out and fail, even bigger companies. So that's the essence of using design thinking for your work and for your life. So I guess I can say goodbye to everyone, and thank you very much for the people who joined, and for people who are watching this later on. And if you have any questions, like I said before, you can just tag me here and put a comment down below, or you can find me on Facebook or anywhere you find me. Thank you so much, and thanks for the SCF for giving me the opportunity to explain about design thinking and trying to enlighten some people about it. And if you have any urge, or if you got inspired because of design thinking, you can join the design thinking forum that we have for people like you who are interested in design thinking and who are interested in solving problems using design thinking. Thank you so much. Goodbye.